And if you looked at the demographic of Trump voters and my voters back in 2012, they were, Romney won higher income people, won the most educated people, and I won blue collar, folks. And to me, that was a clear call that if we're going to beat Democrats, we're going to have to beat Democrats among blue collar working folks. That's, by the way, the vast majority of Americans. Right? As I mentioned, 74% of Americans don't have college, over the age of 25, don't have a college degree. And I thought, if we're going to win Ohio and Pennsylvania and Michigan and places like that, then we got to win voters like that if we're going to beat Barack Obama in 2012 or we're going to beat Hillary Clinton in 2016. And so that was my campaign in 12. We darn near won. We came closer than most people think, but I didn't. And so I thought, I've got to do something. I've got to communicate this message because, if we keep running Mitt Romneys, we're never going to get the presidency back. And more importantly than that, we're letting down America because we're not giving voice to the people in this country who want someone to speak for them. Because the Democratic Party doesn't do that anymore. And so I wrote this book called Blue Collar Conservative, Recommitting to an America That Works. And I talked about all the things, and more of what I talked about here. And I published it in 2014. And great story. I get a call. I did an interview on the Joe Piscopo radio show out in New York.
Yeah.
And Joe, Jersey Joe, loved blue collar stuff. And so he had me on several times to talk about my book. And I get this call from Dave Bossie, who I'm sure you know from the Trump world. And this was 2014. And he calls and says, hey, I just got a call from Trump. He said he heard you on the radio and you were talking about him. I said, I wasn't talking about him. I said, but I was on the radio.
He just assumed you were talking about him.
Exactly. So anyway, he sends me this. He said, "Can Trump wants to talk to you?" I said, "Sure, fine. Have him reach out." So he sends me a text, and he thanks me for talking about him, which I didn't. And but I talked about, I don't know. I talked about something. He took it as me talking about him, which I wasn't. But he said, "Come see me if you're in New York." So I said, "Okay." Like a month or two later, it was August of 2014. I walk into his office. I walk through the door, come around. He's sitting at his desk, and he's holding up a copy of my book. And he says, "I read your book." And I said, "Yeah, you didn't read my book." He said, No, I read your book. It's a great book." And I said, "Yeah, the hell you read my book. I know you didn't read this book." He said, No, I read this book. And he starts on just a monologue talking about what's in the book, that it's all about manufacturing. It's all about immigration. It's all about blue collar people. And you don't think I'm a blue collar guy, but blue collar guys like me. I was in, I used to build buildings, and I would go up there and the guys would connect with me and I connect with them and all this. And he went on and on about China and all these things that I referred to, I have talked about. And he said, "Someone needs to run for president on this platform." And I said, "Well, yeah, I might be doing it again, Donald." I said, "I'd love your help." He said, "Well, I'm thinking about doing it." And I said, "Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard you've been thinking about doing it for like 10 years, 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he said, no. He said, and then, to be honest with you, he talked a little